Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Veeryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, this Atma is all-pervasive, the only self-revealing reality. There is only one. Everything else is revealed. But if it is the only reality, the question is, how come we don't know it? So, it is as though hidden. Where is it hidden? In the buddhi, that the eye senses, that's exactly where it is hidden. How? There is no physical distance between eye sense and existence and awareness. Existence and awareness is available as the content of eye sense. What does it mean? Whether you think of I am walking, whether you think of I am sitting, I am studying, I am learning, I am sleeping, whatever that thought is, that needs a content, like a pot needs a content, right? And that thought is a form, but the content is existence and awareness. And so how is it hidden? Form seems real, the content is forgotten. Like in the case of pot and clay, pot seems real because it has dimensions, it can hold water, it has function. Clay is as though forgotten. And pot and clay, can you find clay? Can you say, oh, I want to separate because clay is independent and pot is dependent. I want to take out the independent reality from the dependent reality. Is it possible? No. Why? Because dependent reality, the meaning of dependent reality is it cannot exist without the content. So where the form is, that's exactly where the content is. So the universe, the way it is given to us is all forms. You can't extricate this reality from forms. What you do need to understand is all these forms are attributes. They require one place where the attributes require a noun. And there is only one noun, one I am, which is self-revealing. And that I am for you and me are the same. And that I am for Ishvara is also the same. So this is something, that's why this I am is limitless. There is no second. Limitless doesn't mean big. Limitless means it is without a second. The form cannot exist without the content, and content is independent of being form. Vedanta. You can enjoy all the forms, and you don't count many, you count only one. Because that is the only thing which counts. So, this is what we have seen, that objects are big and small. It is the content of all of them. With reference to you, it is hidden in your buddhi. This is what is called upalabdhi sthana. If Atma is all pervasive, it is self-revealing, but it is not going to be objectified. At one place it has to be available for you to be known. Where is that place? In your I am, which is self-revealing. What do you need to do? 3 operations. One is that self-revealing I am. You have to first separate from the body and mind. Then you can't give it a location, this existence and awareness. You have to free it from location. And you have to say, it's not just here, it is everywhere. And what is the third operation? That all the forms don't have any independent existence. That's when you have completely understood. Then you say all that is here is one. 3 operations. Then you totally get it. Otherwise, it's incomplete. Yeah. So this is what we have seen so far. Let's move to the next verse. Sorry?
The third operation was everything is dependent.
Yeah. And if you do understand that, then what is the result? Vita Shokaha. What does it mean? If you really see yourself at that as that existence and all the world of forms is dependent upon it, what will happen to the sadness? It's not about you, the individual, trying to eliminate sadness. It is Atma is not subject to, there is no second. Do you understand? And this is where Surya this morning talked about, which is a very important thing in the meditation, Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. Tranquility can be seen in 2 ways. One is relative tranquility of the mind, when you are not so ruffled. That is Vachyartha. That's what we understand by tranquility. Then there is Lakshyartha. That tranquility is not about relative peaceful mind. It is about Atma, which doesn't change at all. There's no question of being perturbed. It's a changeless reality. So what does it mean? All this we need to understand. The relative connotation of any word which applies to the person. Then the absolute reality, which is impersonal. It's nothing to do with quality. It is something which is already free. So, this is something that we need to understand, which is the next verse. Ashariram sharireshu anavastheshu avasthitam mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhiraha nashochati. Who wants to?
Having known the self which is bodiless, which is located in the impermanent bodies, which is big and which is all-pervading, the discriminative does not grieve.
Okay, so what we see is Ashariram Sharireshu. So this is something which is beautiful, that which is free from being body, but where do you find it? In the body. Asharireshu. Don't find it somewhere else. So here, this is something that we need to understand. And Anavastha, Sharireshu, Anavastheshu, Avasthitam. Anavastheshu means what? Something which is constantly changing and does not have any real being. It is what? The being which supports everything which is in a flux. So, now let's look at it. This whole world that I talked about, right? From mountains to animals to aquatic creatures like fish, planets, plants, whatever, stars, galaxies. These all seem like tangible entities and distinct from each other. But if you actually look into all of them, they are manifestation of one reality. What is this one reality? All knowledge and all power. So ultimately, all of them are ultimately can be reduced to nanoparticles. Or if you take Vedic model, Panchamahabhuta, 5 elements, and these 5 elements are arranged in different permutations and combinations to appear as all of this. So, and all of this, which seems tangible, there are two characteristics. One is nothing is stable and fixed. It's undergoing constant change. What does it mean? Body of yesterday and body of today seems exactly the same, but at the micro level, how many changes have taken place? So many. Some cells have left, new cells have come, hair has fallen, some hair has become grey, food digested, nail has grown, wrinkles have come small, small wrinkles. What it means is, right, the teeth is still being digested, and with the snacks.
Expansion here is happening.
I hope along with this expansion is also happening.
At least some expansion.
Some expansion is happening. At least, if not here. One pair. Okay. So what it is, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. If not here, at least here. Some expansion has to happen when you come to India, right? So, what it means is that all this, what is the first characteristic? Nothing is stable. Neither the mountain of yesterday is exactly the mountain of today, nor the body of human, nor the animal, nor the birds. Everything is under constant flux. Now, the second thing is even more interesting because you can say mountain is under constant flux, but if I look into what is mountain, it reduces from forms within forms, within forms, within forms. Even this now goes away, because it reduces into something else. Do you understand? If you take mountain as an entity, it changes. But if you ask the question, what is mountain? There is no entity called mountain only. Mountain only disappears because the mountain is nothing but soil and trees and rocks. And each one of them in turn is just nothing but atoms and particles and nanoparticles. More words. Vacha Rambhanam Vikaro Namathe. Words within words within words. This noun is reduced to this noun, then to this noun, then to this noun, then to this noun. All the nouns, but actually they are all just forms within forms within forms. And all the nouns ultimately go away. What remains is one, only the noun, upon which all these nouns are as though superimposed. So what does it mean? Whether you look like this or like this, everything, this is under flux. And when you inquire into what is this, it disappears into something else, something else, something else. And all of them are in flux. Not just this is in flux, this is also in flux. Nataraja. What is Nataraja? There is nothing which is stable. There is nothing which is constant. And all these, everything is in a constant flux, and this object itself is not there, but it is appearing as that. Within all this flux, everything appears stable and relatable and transactable. and it follows laws. Wonder. In fact, this whole show that these forms are arranged in a certain way that it actually creates these entities, and they themselves appear stable while they are changing, and they are able to connect to each other. They are all interdependent through laws. The whole manifestation is just a play on all knowledge and all power. All that is here is Ishvara. Did you see that at the entrance? Everything, all that is here is Ishvara. What is it? Everything is Ishvara. All that is here is Ishvara. So what does it mean? All these nouns that you see, they are all manifestation of one reality. And what is this? All knowledge and all power. Now the question is, this knowledge and power, is it in flux or it is constant?
In flux.
Good. Where did you get it from? The previous retreat?
2022.
22. Okay. What does it mean? This is also in flux. Why is it in flux? Why?
If it was not in flux, we would have a big problem, I think.
Yeah. What does it mean? The new causes are created here. The new causes have to produce corresponding effects. If this was constant and stable, will that happen? Can that happen? It cannot happen, right? Every second, all of us are creating new causes. What does it mean? These causes have to join with past causes to produce the future effects. And this is something which is not theoretical, right? At least I was born in India where there was no TV when I was born. I remember when I was 7 or 8 years old or 9 years old, I don't remember. There was a TV came, and on our street there was only 1 or 2 people who had TV, so everybody flocked to their home. Then for calls, we had to book calls. I've lived through those times. And how many changes I have seen during my lifetime. Every home has TV, every home has mobile. Every mobile is a smartphone. Changes within changes within changes. How did they happen? Just magically? Small causes came together and produced this effect. Then they came new causes. Then they came together and produced this effect. Then they came together, produced this effect. What does it mean? Knowledge and power has to constantly reshuffle the universe depending upon the causes that we create. It doesn't change its not the status of being all knowledge and all power, but it has to incorporate the new causes, because what we have seen is the whole universe is organized through what is the order? Cause and effect. That's the order. It doesn't have its own will. It doesn't say Sander has to have a good time and this one has to suffer. There is no will here. It's just manifestation and the laws, potentials and possibilities. No will. So depending upon the causes which are created, what the laws produce effect. So that means it is what? Impersonal, unbiased, infallible. So this knowledge and power is also within flux. So what is that stable thing upon which everything which is in flux depends? The only one thing, which is changeless, upon which all these subsequent changing things are dependent. The only changeless, attribute-free reality, existence, awareness, which is now you can say limitless. It is neither limited by knowledge and power nor by any of the objects. It is the content of everything. Look at this. Wherever there is any form, knowledge and power is manifesting as that form through all these arrangements. So ultimately it is just a manifestation of knowledge and power. Whether you look at this form or you look at this form or you look at this form, at every level of organization, it gets new attributes. What does it mean? Atoms are coming together of particles. Atoms acquire additional quality which particles don't have. Atoms come together to create cells. Cells have additional quality which atoms don't have. So when atoms come together, they create so-called, it's just an assemblage of atoms, but the cells have different attributes. The cells come together, create organs. Organs have different attributes. At every level of organization, it acquires different name and different attributes. And this is how this varied Jagat comes. So, while all this is there, and this is constantly reorganizing all these world of forms every second through the laws of cause and effect. All of this depends upon one non-changing, actionless, attribute-free reality, and that is existence, awareness, which is limitless. There is no second. From the standpoint of here, is there a second? There is no second. That's why you call it limitless. And where is it available? Wherever this is, this is. Wherever this is, this is. Like wherever wave is, it has its being in ocean. Ocean has to be there. Wherever ocean, the nature of ocean, which is water, has to be there. With our senses, what we are given to see is all the waves. What we can't see in terms of the final reality is the presence of ocean and water. What we can see are forms. What we can't see is all knowledge and all power, Ishvara, which makes all these forms what they are. And what we can't see is Sat, Chit, Anand. Where is this given to us? We can't see it. Where is this given to us? As self-revealing, I am, I am, I am. And this, all knowledge and all power.
Through all the manifestation.
So through the manifestation, but we ourselves cannot figure out that the whole manifestation is knowledge and power. The knowledge and power which is Ishvara has to reveal it to us through Pramana. So knowledge and power is given for us to understand through Pramana. That all that is here, that you see, is essentially nothing but knowledge and power. But the truth of Ishvara, which is Satchidananda, is given to you as self-revealing, I am, I am, I am. So, what is this teaching doing? Ishvara is saying, I am the cause of the whole universe. But my true nature is Satchidananda. Wherever I am, I carry my truth. So that means every form is where Ishvara is, and wherever Ishvara is, Ishvara's truth is. Ishvara's truth is given to you as what? I am. And Ishvara is given to you as how? Through Pramana, it reveals. What does it reveal? Your body, which you think is your body. Who has put together these trillions of cells together to make your body function the way it does? You didn't do it. All three are here and now. Your body is there, the knowledge and power which makes right now your eyes what they are, your brain what it is, the connection between your eyes and your brain, the connection between eyes and an external object, and the position of the sun which makes the whole operation possible. The whole arrangement is within knowledge and power. Every form, its own manifestation and its connection with everything else. It's all within knowledge and power. Is it deniable? Can you say, logically, can you dispute this? It is impossible. But can you say, I am Ishvara? If you say, I am all knowledge and all power, is it possible? I will say, if you are all knowledge and all power, create one more planet. Come, now. You can't put your I am in Ishvara. You can only put your I am in when the truth of Ishvara, which is existence and awareness. That existence and awareness is given to you as self-revealing presence. I am, I am, I am. And that is mixed up. So what does this pramana do? Ishvara reveals to you. Yeah, with reference to that form, it is me. It's my manifestation. But in terms of its truth, there is only one truth, which is Satyam Dhanam. The wave and ocean, they have very different appearance, but in terms of content, they have only one truth. So, this is the teaching. We can look at the verse. What? Asharira Sharireshu. In and through this sharira of an animal and human and fish and all these different, sharira is body. What is this reality? Does it have a body? No. But where is it? In and through every body as its content. So what does it mean? It is in and through every body. But it is not the given body. It is given to you as the content. Ashariram sharireshu. Anavastheshu. So what? Everything has a relative existence because it is form within form within form. This is not an absolute existence. So it is anavastha. What is anavastha? That form, when you look into that form itself disappears into something else. Then that disappears into something else. Then that disappears into something else. So none of it is really there. But there is only one thing upon which all these forms are simultaneously superimposed in a given order. And what is that one reality, which is the only thing existing? Everything is what? Coming together and appearance of multiple forms, which is all dependent on that one thing. There is only one avastha. Avastha is the final existence, which is the only thing which is there, upon which everything as though depends on its existence. Anavastheshu avasthitah. Mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhiraha nashochati. If you come to know this to be the reality, which is not just some reality, you're sitting here and saying, yeah, there is this existence and consciousness which is the truth of every form. It's not like that. I am Brahman. Not like you are listening to some model and logically it seems to fit. Not in that sense. Because if you do that, what is the problem? You are still the person who is trying to understand a model, like you understand a model of physics. And then you say, yeah, there is no logical error, it seems possible. Is this how you understand this knowledge? Oh, then this is some hypothesis and this is some postulation which doesn't seem to have any logical errors. You have to, if you understand it, there is once and for all a paradigm shift. And what is that paradigm shift? Your I am moves from this individual to this reality, which is the truth of everything. I am. The only place where really I am belongs, which is right now, self-revealing I am, is here. But the mix-up is, it's all over the place. The person who uses the pramana and sees the interrelationships totally clearly, is not confused between different things, is the one who is a wise person. Everything is given to you together. Where form is, the individual is. That's exactly where Ishvara is. Where Ishvara is, the truth of Ishvara is. But it's all jumbled up. You only see forms, you don't see Ishvara, and you don't definitely recognize this self-revealing presence. What does Pramana do? It shows you what is what. And what do you need to do? Use your buddhi. Listen to Pramana and figure out what is what. Are you ever able to physically separate forms from knowledge and knowledge and power from existence and awareness? Never. If you want to separate, keep reading. That's why it's a complicated process. You need to understand. Okay? So, that is what, having understood this Atma, there is no room for Shodha. Now, this is a big knowledge. So, now, after taking you to a high, Upanishad has to bring you down a little bit. Because otherwise it's like, okay, if your mind is not ready, it's like, what is going on in this class? Right? You cannot identify with it because it's so different from anything that you have thought of. So, can you keep talking like this? No. You have to come back a little bit to the realities that you are familiar with. This is a technique. So what our Swamiji used to do is, he was very clever. His teaching was so brilliant. He will show us the truth, but then it becomes too much. To continue to, he would see that the mind is now saturated. What would he do? Come back, joke a little bit, here and there, make you relax. need that break because otherwise you'll go crazy. So, Upanishad also knows that after taking you to this peak of making you understand all the relationships and how things are organized, it has to bring you back to this little individual and then says, look at this. Who gets this knowledge? Na ayam atma pravachanena labhyaha na medaya na bahuna shrutena yam eva esha vrunute tena labhyaha tasya esha atma vivrunute tanum sma. Okay, who wants to read? Much easier verse. Now she's awake, otherwise she was closing her eyes. Too much. Yes, I can see everything what's going on. I will not say anything, but I see what's going on. Okay.
This self cannot be attained neither through mere recitation of the Vedas, nor through mere memory, nor through mere repeated listening. It is attained only by that person only who this person chooses. This self reveals its nature to him.
Okay, so what it means is Naya na ayam atma pravachanena lamya. So the recitation of the Vedas. So recitation, see here, what is interesting is everything which is important is mentioned. It's not like, oh, recitation of Veda will not get you Atma, so give up recitation. That's not the message. But recitation alone, can it give you the knowledge? No. You become perfect chanter. You don't make any mistake. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So it's not only your head is moving, even your voice is moving along. Perfect intonations. Every matra is in its right place. Every swara is in its right place. And what are you chanting? I am this Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Yo Veda Nihitam Bhumaya, which I need to know which is as though hidden in my buddhi. As a form, but I am that content of that form. You're chanting this, does it mean you understand it? No. So we had gone for a concert. So it was wonderful. You know, there are very, very famous musicians, Gundeja brothers, and they sing Drupad. And Drupad is the first classical form from Samaveda. So it's brilliant. It's really brilliant. It's more musical than Samaveda. And many of the texts, you know, the what they render. So the particular thing that they rendered was all Mandukya Upanishad. But they were singing. They were rendering Radha, and they had some composition. And I and Surya are sitting and we are listening and we understand the words and we are like, my God. You know, this whole vision of Mandukya Upanishad is rendered, but in a form of Drupad Raga. And the way they are skilled and their swaras and where they take you, and it was just incredibly pleasurable. So after the concert we went and we went and to see Gundeja brothers. And we said, my God, it is just incredible. I mean, you were rendering all this, but it's all basically the truth revealed in Mandukya Upanishad. And they were looking at us. They had no clue what was Mandukya Upanishad. And they had no clue what they were singing. They had some clue, Omkara and whatever. But it doesn't mean they were rendering with perfect sound harmony. And it moved us so deeply. And it moved the audience very deeply. But that doesn't mean they understand it. Does it mean that this singing and chanting is not good? No. It is good. It is wonderful sadhana because try to chant one line properly. It requires a lot of alertness. You have to pronounce words accurately. Your intonations have to be correct. Your pronunciations have to be right. Your breathing all has to be in place to be able to do it. It requires a lot of alertness. And in Taittiriya Upanishad it is said, your mind has so many different thoughts. The thoughts arise and thoughts go. The minute you chant Veda, are they your thoughts? They are Ishvara's revelation of truth. You bring Ishvara's revelation of truth to your mind and keep repeating it. This repetition has been going on for how long? For generations this chanting is going on. It's not like any thought which has just come and gone, of not much consequence. When you bring the words of the Vedas, which are revealed by Ishvara, in that particular intonation to your mind, you are brightening it up. It has a value. But just repeating is not going to get you anywhere. You have to understand. This is the beauty. This is also Ishvara's little trick, right? You come to Vedanta class, then chanting becomes your main thing. Or Sanskrit, which is lovely, they are all necessary. It gives you certain discipline, it gives you access to the language, you can understand how it is being, it's all wonderful. But Sanskrit becomes your final focus. The very thing which is useful, but it is a means, actually becomes an end. Within the pursuit, out of focus. Incredible. So what does it mean? The final focus is not anything else. The final focus is knowledge, and nothing can deliver like knowledge can. But everything else is useful. But what is this human mind? The useful thing becomes the most important, and the most important thing is forgotten. Loss of perspective. How easy it is. How easy it is. So all the things, right, look at this, which are useful, but we have a tendency to get totally carried away. We have to use them, but not get carried away. What is this? Just recitation doesn't get you there. Na medhaya. Medha is a very important quality. What is this quality? Now imagine, the Upanishad, as I told you, right? One verse cannot reveal the whole truth. Each verse does its own job, and it builds, and it builds, and it builds. Suppose by the time you are doing 10th verse, if you forget what is in that second verse, how will you build and retake? You can't. So what does it mean? You have to hold the whole text, and you have to hold the logical progression, and you have to keep filling the right information at the right place to see the whole truth. Now, you have done it with reference to Katha. Now, Mundaka shows the same reality but with a totally different prakriya. What it is supposed to do is, if there are some gaps in your understanding, this new and fresh way of looking at it, it is allowing you to fill those gaps. But if you have forgotten what Katha is saying, by the time you are doing Mundaka, where is the building? Only one gap. There is only gap. There is no building. So what does it mean? Medha is important. Ability to understand what is being said, but along with that understanding, retaining. Because it's refining further and further and further and further. It's building on what you know. And then till your mind finally reaches the truth completely and fully. There is no deviation. But if you keep forgetting, there is no possibility of building and refining. This is why Medha is important. Medha is two things: ability to understand and ability to retain what you have understood. It's great, but if you only keep using your Medha to memorize everything and repeat everything, and it's all staying, but you're not building a coherent picture of reality. It's all in your memory here and there, all popping up like unconnected. Then what happens? You are able to repeat things, but things are not put together in its right place. So, I have to tell you a story that happened to us, right? Towards the end of the course, right, we all had to get up and we had to explain one verse of, I think, Kathopanishad or Kenopanishad, Kathopanishad, I think, in front of the whole class, and Swamiji was sitting next to us, and we were all like shaking, right? After 3.5-year course, when we have finished all our study, we are all shaking. Why? Because we have to explain one verse in front of the whole class and Swamiji is sitting there, right? And so, but people also want to impress Swamiji, right? They want to show that they have learned. They don't want to just come there and like shake and, oh, I don't remember anything, oh, I don't know. Of course, you don't want to do that. So now they find a way. So what they do is, they mug up things. And to impress Swamiji, what they do is, suppose you are explaining Kathopanishad, then suppose you quote from Mundaka, you quote from Chandogya. It seems, wow, you have everything with you. So while you are explaining Kathopanishad, you also have retained Mundaka and you have Chandogya, you are able to bring all of this and show to Swamiji how much you have learned. So everybody is working really hard to be able to do it. Then after 2 days, Swamiji says, stop this. Why? He says, to explain Kathopanishad, you are quoting Mundaka Upanishad. But by quoting some verse of Mundaka Upanishad, have you explained what Kathopanishad is saying? Where have you explained what it is saying? This, he says, is pseudo-scholarship. I haven't explained one thing, but in order to, it gives semblance of explaining. It gives semblance of knowing. Because without going into what this verse says, I quote something else. It seems as though I know this and I know that. But what have I done is not explained what it says. He says, the whole teaching is not about quoting here and there to impress others and to show others how much you remember. It's not a show of your talents and impressing others. It is what? Communicating what you have understood and explaining it clearly so that somebody else can understand it. These are all the frills that we hide behind. Sounds impressive, sounds scholarly, but this is not what we are here for. You are not here to validate me as a great scholar. You are here to understand who you are. So I have to be able to communicate clearly what I'm saying. So he made a stop. So this is the whole thing. Medha is very useful, but medha used superficially only becomes demonstration, quoting. Gives an appearance of scholarly this thing, and also as though you are holding everything.
And what happened?
This is why then Swamiji said that you just explain. Yes, quoting is done even by Bhashyakara. It's not that the quoting is not done, but at the relevant time, at the relevant place to fill the knowledge, not to impress others and not to kind of escape from explaining what it means. So quoting is also not bad, but when do you do it? How you do it? The purpose, that is very important. Otherwise it all just becomes empty, sounding good. So medha is important, but alone medha, we all have the tendency to quote and repeat. Repetition is not something. Assimilation is very, very important. And just memory and repetition doesn't, we confuse it with understanding. This is why ideas we remember and they are floating, but we haven't put them in the right place. So they're all floating and you don't know where to connect and how it is connected. So only medha and repetition and memory is not enough. Na bahuna shrutena. So the other thing is neither only going on repeatedly listening to it without some discrimination, without some tattparya, understanding what exactly it is saying, and when there is lack of clarity in somebody's presentation, your ability to recognize that. Otherwise, what happens is that sometimes people hide their non-clarity by making everything complicated. So it gives you the idea, oh, this person is so smart and I am not understanding. But what is the reality? The person is not clear and therefore the person is making it all very complicated and giving you some complex that, hey, you are stupid, you are not good enough. So what it means is, listening requires lot of discerning and discrimination. That's why it's not lazy, passive listening. That's why I encourage people to think and I invest in all of you. My asking question is not to expose or to judge you. It is to make sure that you are not superficial in your understanding. I want to churn it to make sure that you understand deeply and correctly. My intention is not to kind of, oh, this one is good, oh, this one is not good, oh, this one. I don't have this. I don't have any need to judge you. In fact, I have this feeling, if you have made so much effort to come here, it becomes my responsibility to, as much as possible, within my capacity, to make your knowledge a little deeper and clearer. For that, I need some feedback from you. What do you understand? If you give me zero feedback, I have no idea what is going on in your head. I have no opportunity to correct it. And to make it sharper and to remove, that is required. Otherwise, how? I say whatever I say, and you understand whatever you understand, and nobody knows who's doing what. So, this is something which is not that it requires that listening with a certain discerning, and only when you give feedback, I have access to what you are understanding, what you are not understanding, and I have an opportunity to make it deeper. It's not for judging anyone, right? So here, Bahuna Shrutena. Now, here, one is also very important. Yam eva esham drunute tena labhya. Neither it is just an academic pursuit. You enroll. I had a friend who enrolled, in Oxford, Indian studies, because he says, yeah, let's see what these scholars are saying about Upanishads. So he enrolled in some 3 or 6 month program, Oxford, this Indian philosophy studies. And he gathered, of course, a lot of knowledge because he studied Upanishads and all, but in university context. And then he invited me for coffee. And then he was asking me thousands of questions. So what does it mean? I said, but all these questions you have, why didn't you ask your professor? Why are you asking me? After this study and certificate, all these doubts were unresolved. Why? Academic. Gathering information. Studying Indian philosophy as one of the systems, one of the many systems of thinking. It's just ideas. It doesn't sink in as the truth. So this is something which is also very important. Why are you studying Vedanta? It has to come back to Mumukshutvam. You're not studying as an academic interest. You're not studying to kind of give your mind some kick. Okay, now I'm bored with life. Let us stimulate the mind with some interesting model that Vedanta is just interesting. It shows me reality in a different way, so it challenges my brain. So yeah, let me expose to it. No. You have to understand that you are searching, you are a seeker. Everything that you have done so far has not given you what you are looking for, which is certain amount of fulfillment, certain amount of completeness, certain amount of satisfaction. When you can say, I am fine, without buts and ifs. That means you are seeking. Ifs and buts. If this happens to me, I'll be fine. I'm fine, but only my husband is a problem. I'm fine, but only my husband is a problem means what? You're living with your husband, and only if he is a problem, your life is filled with problems. And not clarity. So what does it mean? This ifs and buts. That means you have to see yourself as complete, satisfied being who is able to live life fully and engage deeply with enthusiasm and cheerfulness and with no confusion, no vagueness. Who doesn't want to be that person? Everybody wants to be that. Are you, with all your intelligence, able to give yourself that life? No. If you understand that, You come to Shastra, not with this arrogance, not with this so-called intellectual kind of, rational kind of exposing yourself to some interesting model. You come for yourself and to solve the fundamental human problem. That's when right attitude comes, that's when Shraddha comes. And if somebody is showing me what I want to be, and showing me this is who you are right now, what you want to be, why wouldn't I listen to that teaching? It doesn't see me as a helpless person. It doesn't see me as a wanting person. There are no promises, you come to me and I will release you because of my grace. It shows that the starting point of the teaching is you are already free. But you are making a mistake. So the teaching allows you to undo the mistake so that you can see yourself in true light. Why would you want to close yourself to this teaching? Why? What makes you shut off and tell yourself it's irrelevant to my life? That means how you approach. If you want to be blessed by Shastra, you have to enter understanding exactly the right thing. Why have you come and what it can do for you? If you are at the right place for wrong reason, it will not work. If you are at the wrong place with the wrong reason, it will also not work. You have to be at the right place at the right time with the right person for the right reason for it to work. So this is Yam Esha Eva Vrunute Tena Purushartha Nishchaya. What is Purushartha Nishchaya? What am I looking for? That has to be clear. What can Shastra give me? That has to be clear. What is its contribution to my life? How does it solve my problem fundamentally? Not situation problem, fundamental problem. Who am I? What is my identity? I'm a small lost person who's trying to somehow get things to work, or am I something much bigger than that? All this has to be clear. Otherwise, your mind just keeps only roaming around in its own little realities and try to solve this little realities through Vedanta. And then it says, no, it's irrelevant because all this doesn't solve my little problem. You are stuck with your problem with whoever, your boss. Now, then you say, I'm limitless, how will it solve my problem with my boss? Then you call Vedanta irrelevant, impractical, abstract, theoretical, intellectual. Is Vedanta trying to solve your boss's problem? Is that the value that Vedanta has in your life? You have to give it the right place. Once you have to understand, if the boss problem is solved, spouse problem will come. If spouse problem is solved, children problem will come. Money problem will come. Things will keep coming in your life. Is Vedanta doesn't solve a given problem, it solves the problem. I'm small, I'm insignificant, I have to get things to work as I want for me to be happy. Keep waiting. You have to see yourself in a totally different light. Atmavid Shokam Tantra. There is no second. That is your truth. You are making a huge error and keeping that error intact. You want to solve. It's not solvable. If you want to solve the problem, you have to solve the most fundamental error. Somehow this limitless reality has become as good as the body and mind and is struggling. And retaining your identity as body and mind, which is one dot in the universe, and you want to get the whole universe to work according to your wishes, to be happy. When will it happen? Never. So, this is Yam Esha Eva Brahmate. Understand what is Vedanta and what it can do for you. Then it will bless you. Right? Tena Ladhyaha. Tasya Esha Atma Vidrunate Tanusva. If you have the right reason and you prepare yourself and not be in a hurry. So, Gabby was very poetic. She was so inspired during tea time. Because Gabby, as I know her, is a cognitive person. She is all logical. And this morning she was all poetic and explaining everything that Vedanta says with a smiling face and all imageries and all that. And that was so beautiful to see that. Really beautiful to see that. What happens as you relax, as you don't push, as you don't force, as you don't kind of try to fit things, as you take your time, what happens? You prepare yourself. And as you prepare yourself, you become relaxed. What will happen? In that relaxed person, things are put in place, slowly, with alertness, with effort, with repeatedly trying to do things over a period of time. Every piece is put together quietly, nicely, without forcing it. When you put the last piece together, the puzzle is solved. But can the last piece be put without all the other pieces being in place? No. Can you start with the last piece? If you start with the last piece, it's not the last piece, it's the first piece. There is a certain order, and it takes time. Relax and enjoy the process. As you relax and you enjoy the process, and you are not expected to understand everything from the first class, don't push it. Don't force it. Just enjoy it and say, yeah, okay, as I told you, 5 years I spent even just trying to understand what exactly Vedanta is talking about. Even that I was not totally clear. Then forget to understand. But what it is talking about was also not clear. So what it means is, it takes its own time. And if you enjoy the process, because every inquiry, every question, and my attempt to answer that question, even if I didn't get it right, it gave me pleasure. Why did it give me pleasure? At least I was trying to now descend. I was not getting more and more entangled. Every release of that one little knot gave me that illumination, gave me hope, gave me clarity, gave me happiness.
And because I'm in the process then.
Yeah, so enjoy the process.
Yeah.
The way Ishvara has made this pursuit is, it has made the process enjoyable. So enjoy the process. Without putting pressure that I have to get to. What she was saying is like, suppose you have planted a seed and you are in a hurry, and just few sprouts have come, but you want them to grow, and you start pulling them. What will happen? It will be uprooted, they'll die. But you do have to water, you do need to nourish, you have to take out the weeds, you have to create the environment, but you have to wait for it to blossom. You can't hurry that. This is Ishvara's order. You can't defy it. You have to work with it.
And look, with birth, with labor, it's the same.
Huh?
With birth, it's the
Birth
same.
is the same. Yeah, you're a midwife, so you know.
Yeah.
It's the same. You can't hurry up.
Correct push.
You cannot push. But you have to do what you have to do at
It's
the
very
right
dangerous
time.
if you do that.
Absolutely.
For the mother and the baby.
Skillfully.
Yeah.
And you have to work with the order.
Yeah.
So, this is something we all, over a period of time, have to learn to not defy the order, but use your intellect to be in harmony with order. And you see the magic of how your life becomes relatively easier, relatively less moved, relatively without friction, relatively cheerful, enthusiastic, slowly, when you begin to see the blessings. This has to happen. Then what he says is, then at one point you are at ease, you are alert, your thought processes are in order, your thinking is not convoluted, it is not justifying things, it's able to assess things clearly and accurately. The thinking is logical and, emotions are not overpowering you, you are able to manage them. You live with trust, you live with certain understanding of Ishvara and the order. One day, what it says is that the reality will reveal itself to you. What does it mean? There is your effort, but can you decide, today I will know? The last card is in Ishvara's hand. What does it mean? When is the veil going to be completely removed and you see your truth? See means don't see, understand your truth completely. It's not just the function of your effort. It is function of your effort along with Ishvara's order. This is why even in the morning when Einstein got up, he didn't decide, today I'm going to discover E is equal to mc square. He didn't decide, it happened. Why did it happen? All these years of dedication, all these years of deep engagement. The time was right. The time was right for that particular reality to be revealed to him. The way to go. Every knowledge is like that. Needs little grace from Ishvara. Because in Ishvara's order, the time has to be right for this reality to be known to you. Until then, you have to keep working and be more and more Ishvara and make your life more and more flow with Ishvara's order in a relaxed manner and enjoy the whole thing. And make the effort with alertness, sincerity, authenticity, integrity, persistence, commitment. So, this is the verse now. I'm almost at the time is over. So, number Naya Ayamatma is now the next verse we will see. It is giving the same idea, but in a slightly different way. We will see it tomorrow. That means it will reinforce the previous idea and then we'll move forward. So we don't worry. I will finish. If Sander is going to put my text in order, I will finish it for sure.
So the burden is on you now.
I will finish it. I have still how many classes? 6 classes.
Yes.
6 classes, right?
Yes.
So 2 tomorrow, 2 day after, and 2 on the 20th. So I'll finish. So I always tell people, don't be stressed for me. I'm pretty much in control. People think that, oh my God, they look at, oh, there are total 6 pages and she's only on number 2. How will she finish? But I know as a teacher what has to be emphasized and what are fillers and what is the main thing. You can't spend the same amount of time in every verse. You can't divide. Oh, I have 10 days and I have this many hours and I have this many verses. So therefore, I have to spend this much time on each verse. No. Because each verse is different. And it requires different aid. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate